And welcome back to A to Z with Mark Zinno, John Michael Zinn, filling in for Z today, having a great time doing the podcast. A couple of things to get to before we get out of here today. Talk some Falcons, an interesting article with Pro Football Focus of what could be coming with Deion Jones, and a shot in the arm that the Braves, let's be honest, they really need. We'll start with the Braves, though, because something came up earlier this week, and we were talking about this a lot on 680 The Fan, was pretty simple that the Braves have yet to have a 3-game winning streak. Here we are looking, and I'm looking at my watch right now. It's June the 3rd, and the defending World Series champions have yet to have a 3-game winning streak, which they can get tonight as they take on the Colorado Rockies, and Max Fried getting the ball for the first time in Colorado. Could be great. Maybe it starts a 5 or a 6 or an 8-game trend. But the thing that I'm getting frustrated with right now is I keep hearing, well, they did this last year. Last year in August, we were playing the ping pong, right? What was it? 17 straight games. We had win-loss, 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 which was a dubious major league record. Now, it ended up working out well because you won the World Series and you're the champions and you got the big, beautiful rings, which, by the way, I've got one of those bad boys sitting right here. Big, beautiful replica ring right here on the man cave. Love that. Appreciate the Atlanta Braves for that love. But what you did last year has zero bearing on this year. What you did last year, if you really looked into the history of baseball, you don't have repeat champions right now in baseball. Hadn't happened in 20 some odd years in college football. It's in the NBA where there's dynasties. This definitely isn't the NFL where you had the Patriots winning back-to-back Super Bowls a couple of different times. Baseball is hard to repeat. I think the Yankees were the last ones to do so. So the Braves can't rest on the fact that, hey, last year we did some good things and that we were able to overcome. The Mets are a better baseball team. And the Braves really need to start taking care of bad baseball teams, and a 3-game winning streak can do so. Braves also could be getting a shot in the arm coming up in July. Now, I know a lot of people have already started talking about trading deadline, and it's 2 months away. What does Alex Anthopoulos do in 2 months? I'm going to warn people and caution you that what happened last year, again, was an anomaly. Going to pick up an Eddie Rosario where he gets red hot doesn't really happen. Remember, you trade for him and he's injured, and you had to kind of let him sit. Jock Peterson got hot. Jorge Soler came to Atlanta and starts hitting the cover off the baseball. Those were guys that were buy low, get great returns on your investment type players. I looked up MLBTradeRumors.com today and started looking at some of the guys that are available. And I'm here to tell you, players that are available right now are guys that are struggling, guys that are hitting, 190. Corey Dickerson, they said he could be available. I think he's hitting 151. The chance that you're going to go find another one of those buy low, get a high return type guy is probably pretty low. You're not going to go out and trade a mid-level or low-level prospect and think that you're going to get somebody that's going to do like Soler did a year ago and win the World Series MVP, or do like Eddie Rosario did and win the NLCS MVP, where nobody could get those guys out. Or Jock Peterson, how many huge home runs with the pearls on did he hit last year? So what the Braves have to hope for is that the shot in the arm, and they're going to make a trade. Let's keep it real. As the kids like to say, we'll keep it 100. They're going to make a trade. You need outfield help, at least till Eddie Rosario gets back. Marcell Ozuna cannot be in left field. Ronald Acuna right now has not been 100% night in and night out. So there's times right now that you've got a rookie and Michael Harris playing center field, and I like him. Adam Duvall, who's not hitting his weight right now. Marcell Ozuna, who's a butcher in left field, and Ronald Acuna, who's in and out of the lineup. You'll get Rosario back in about 5 or 6 weeks. But the shot in the arm could potentially be in pitching. Think about that for a second. Kyle Wright's been really good. Max Fried, really good. Charlie Morton for the last month has been really good. Ian Anderson is an up-and-down guy, but as your fourth starter, you really like that. And you potentially could be getting Mike Soroka back coming up right after the All-Star break. Now, hopefully you're still alive at the All-Star break. Hopefully you're still within puncher's distance, whether it's the Mets or the wild card. But Soroka has been thrown off the mound. We were talking about it this morning on 680 The Fan that there's a good chance Mike Soroka is going to be heading to start making some rehab starts and ramp this thing up over a month. Now, I am a guy. I raise my hand right now. I am not an expert by any means, but I've had 2 torn Achilles. Those are year recoveries. And granted, I am not a major league athlete. I don't even try to be one. It's been a long time since I was able to compete at a higher level than I am right now as a 47-year-old. But I tore my first Achilles at 34, and it took every bit of a year. And that's talking about multiple days a week rehab. And a lot of times it comes up right here. So imagine tearing the same tendon twice. And now all of a sudden you got to go out there and forget about it and go make plays. Now, I hope Mike Soroka could come back. If he's even 80% of himself and you put him back as a fifth starter, you feel really good. And that could be the shot in the arm that this team needs. Other shot in the arm. And the Falcons are doing something tonight. They've got something in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, $5, I believe, to get you in, open to go watch OTAs, mix and mingle and meet other Falcon fans and stuff like that. But something came out with Pro Football Focus earlier this week as we hit June 1 about the potential of June 1 cuts. And post-June 1 turns into salary cap savings. And the number one name that came up was Deion Jones. Now, I love Deion as a person. I like what he did in Atlanta early on in his career before the foot injuries started to, and some of the lower leg injuries started to sap him of the explosiveness that he had. Deion was really bad in coverage last year. I'm talking about over 800 yards while he was covering. I think he had a 34.6 rating when it came to PFF. And the first name they put out as potential June 1 cut is Deion Jones. And here's why I'm in favor of doing this now and not trying to trade him at the deadline or anything else. The Falcons have already told you this year that they really don't care about the salary cap. You've got $15 million tied up in Julio Jones in dead money. You've got like $60 million tied up in Matt Ryan and other guys total. In totality, it's like $67 million in dead money. So they're basically going this year with one arm tied behind their back, trying to come up with a roster. It's hard to do so. So if you want to rip the Band-Aid off, which they've already done by trading Matt Ryan, trading Julio a year ago, cutting ties with guys like Dante Fowler, paying $60+ million for players that aren't going to be here, rip the Band-Aid all the way off. And the way to rip the Band-Aid all the way off is you cut Deion Jones. Now, it's going to murder your cap this year. You're going to add up maybe another $18 million, I think, in dead cap money would go on there this year if you decide to pull the scab off and you cut Deion Jones. But what realistically are you getting for him at this point? 6th-round pick? Maybe. Does anybody want to take on not only this year's salary, but he's going to count $18 million in salary cap next year? Probably not. He's not the same Deion Jones from 16 and 17 and 18. Let's be honest. Who is the same that they were in 16, 17, or 18? I know I'm not. I know a lot of people out there aren't. So if I'm the Falcons, it's time to rip the scab off right now and go ahead and cut bait. Love Deion. He can still play in the NFL, but the money doesn't equal the value that you're getting in return. Think about it for a second. Is he a $20 million linebacker right now? The answer is no. Are the Falcons a playoff contender? Or let me ask this a better way. Are the Falcons 3 or 4 games better with Deion on the roster as opposed to off? The answer is no. Maybe he wins you 1 game, but where are the Falcons at this year? I love them. I hope they're a playoff team. But when I look up and down that roster, I don't see playoff football team when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons in 2022. What I look at going into next year is I don't want dead money. And if you keep Deion Jones around 1 more year and just say you cut him after this year, you're going to have $5 million plus in dead money next year. I don't want anything tied up any longer. Cut bait and let's move on. Appreciate Mark Zinno calling on me, calling the righty out of the bullpen, calling me in to do some stuff here on A to Z. Hope you guys appreciate it. Make sure you download the podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, all of that good stuff. Support my guy, Mark Zinno. He does a great job every time. Until next time, we'll see you.